the nice thing is you only have to become financially independent once in your life. And then job number one becomes just not losing it, not messing up. And that's what today's video is about. The most common ways that people blow up their financial independence, they blow up their retirement plan. I don't want to see that happen to you. So go for a walk with me and let's talk about it. You know, the number one way that I see people blow up their retirement plan, their financial independence, there's a couple, but here's the biggest ones. The first one is taking too much risk in your portfolio. You know, your views on risk are going to change as you age. You know, when we were young and we were early in our careers, we were all risk takers. And as we get older and as we've built our nest egg and we have fewer years to make up for losses in the market, boy, market downturns can feel scary. And you know, the reason the market goes down is people think it's different this time. And so people are selling, and it's easy to tell yourself when the markets are not scary that, you know, I'm not going to do that. And hopefully you don't, but I think you really want to think about that carefully, because if the market does do a 30, 40, 50% correction, and you're over-invested, that can have a devastating impact on you. So really think about what your asset allocation is. You know, what percent of your portfolio is in stocks. Make sure it's something you can stick with when times get scary. And just realize that, you know, the closer you get to retirement, as you're in retirement, your views on risk are likely going to change. You're going to become likely more conservative. Okay, so that's number one, is really blowing out of your investments because you're too risky. Okay, now, and that can have a lifetime impact. Another one that can have a lifetime impact is divorce. And this is not prescriptive, you know, it's actually divorce is for people 55 to 64. You're going to be shocked at what the rate is. I was. It's almost 50% of people that are married between the ages of 50 and 64. Almost half of those relationships end up going through a divorce. And unfortunately, I'm seeing that in my friend group, right? I'm in that age group. And kind of the empty nest syndrome. The kids go off to college, and the husband and wife, the partners look at each other. I shouldn't say husband and wife, sorry. The partners look at each other and say, you know, do we really want to get old together? And it sounds like, according to statistics, about half the people say no. And you know, the numbers get better as you get older, but not a lot better. 39% of people 65 to 74, 39% of married couples 65 to 74 get divorced. And almost 1 in 4 over the age of, 75. 1 in 4 over the age of 75, 24% is the actual number, end up getting divorced. So, you know, sometimes that's the right thing for the couple. What I'm saying here is, to the extent, I think it makes sense to invest in your relationship, to spend time together, to invest in each other. If you need therapy, to go counseling, I should say. If you need counseling, invest in the counseling, invest time with each other, and do fun things together. You know, just take that relationship as the important thing it is, because, you know, it's a heck of a lot less expensive to live in retirement when there's two of you living in a house, as opposed to each of you having your own lodging and everything else. Okay, another one is continuing to buy large assets as you get closer to retirement, right? We spend our lives kind of buying things, and then at some point, many of us say, I no longer want stuff. You know, I'm definitely in that phase, and it's not right for everybody, but I find myself to be a harvester of things that I've acquired in the past, and I'm less interested in planting new trees, if you will. But buying large ticket items, expensive cars, having a second home, expensive toys. Now, I want you to enjoy your retirement, but have a feel for how much you can afford to spend in retirement, because, you know, I know a couple that has bought brand new his and her Porsches, and it doesn't take too many activities like that to take you from a comfortable retirement to one where you're not as comfortable. So just be careful buying big ticket items. Okay, another one is understand, and I don't sell insurance. I don't want to sell insurance. But understand what your insurance needs are as you get older. One of the most common oversights that I see with younger people that have younger children, people that are in the prime of their career, is it's very, very common to meet a high wage earner that does not have disability insurance. So that's a real common oversight. And similarly, as people get older, a common oversight that I see is not having thought about how you're going to pay for long-term care, whether you're going to have insurance or you're going to self-fund it, to have a feel for what that's going to cost, and either to be able to self-fund it or have insurance, or at least understand what those trade-offs are. I do think it's really worthwhile. None of this is financial advice. I'm just putting things on your radar screen to pique your interest, so that you do further research. But I do think it makes sense to work with an account or work with a fee-only financial advisor. You can find one near you just by Googling. Okay, let's keep going. The next one, unfortunately, is people falling for scams. And, we look at ourselves and say, oh, I would never fall for a scam like that. But, the older we get, unfortunately, the stats show us that we're more likely to fall for some of these scams. So just be careful. And they do it for a reason. The scammers do it for a reason. They do it because it works, unfortunately. And related to that, a couple more points. Another mistake I see is people not thinking about having a financial power of attorney for as they get older. Most of my viewers are probably many years away from this, but if you're getting to the point where you're worried about, losing your ability to make good decisions, financial decisions for yourself, you may want to have some way where your bank or your financial advisor, your accountant, your estate planning attorney, that somebody can trigger and say, hey, I'm concerned about my client, and maybe we need to look at having somebody else help him or her make decisions, make big life decisions for him or her. So just think about that. That's a financial power of attorney. On that topic, this isn't financially related, but a healthcare power of attorney. I think each of us should have that. So, whatever your desires are as you get older, maybe you need to be put on life support at some point, somebody knows what your wishes are there. Okay, so we just talked about scams. I've got two more, and the last one's the biggest one. So stay with me until the end. And if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really does help the algorithm find other people. And think about commenting. I love reading your comments. Okay, the next mistake that I see is people selling appreciated stocks before, a couple days before they could have had long-term capital gains. This isn't tax advice, talk to your accountant, but in general, the trigger for long-term capital gains as opposed to ordinary taxes, being taxed as ordinary taxes, is over 1 year. So 366 days or more. Again, you want to look that up for yourself, but I just share that with you. Where you can look it up is irs.gov, and you want to look for publication number 409. Okay, another really big one. And before I get to it, if you haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor, hit that like button. But another big mistake that people make, I think, is expecting to work past retirement age. You may be able to, but if your financial plan depends on that, think about if there's a way that you can accomplish that goal without you having to work past retirement age. And, here in America, that's 65. And, really expecting to work past 60, unfortunately, if you lose your job at 60, here in the United States, I think ageism is still alive and well. I wish it wasn't. But expecting to be able to work past the age of even 60 or 55, I think is optimistic. It can be really hard to get your job back. So with that, if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy this video up here, which talks about average income in retirement, and this video down here that talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.